Fair Isle. You might have heard of it in relation to knitwear, but did you know it's an actual place? The famous Fair Isle knitting style began right here on this small island in northern Scotland, located between the Shetland and Orkney island groups. It's the UK's most remote inhabited island. I'm a complete beginner when it comes to knitting, but I've made it all the way here to spend the next week in one of the world's most famous knitting destinations, learning how to knit. I have made it to Fair Isle. I am so excited to be here and for what lies ahead of me this week, although I am feeling a little bit nervous because, to be honest, I haven't really done much knitting at all before. I think I've tried it once in my life when I was about 15 years old and I wasn't very good at it, and that's why I didn't continue. But knitting is something that I'm really keen to get into because it's such a huge part of Scottish history, and there is no better place to learn how to knit than here on Fair Isle. When we arrived, we got picked up and brought down to the Bird Observatory, which is where I'll be staying for the week, and also the knitting will be taking place here in one of the rooms downstairs. Everyone else in the group seems to have a bit more knitting experience than me, but everyone is so friendly and so nice so far. Let me give you a quick tour of my room here at the Bird Observatory. This here is my bedroom at the Bird Observatory. It is so nice. The Bird Observatory actually opened just a few months ago, so everything is very new. There are 2 single beds in here. I'll be sleeping in that one there. This bed opposite is set up with a blanket, and this is the Fair Isle design. My goodness, that is so beautiful. It looks like the sea or something. Oh my gosh, that is stunning. And there's also a lovely matching cushion over there as well. And there is a gift bag. Wow. Here are some of the lovely things that are inside the gift bag. There is a lovely tea towel here from the school on Fair Isle, and then there are some books here. So there's a lovely notebook, the Shetland Wool Adventures journal, that looks great. Traditional Fair Isle knitting book, wow. Jamesons of Shetland, so they produce a lot of the wool, I think, here on Shetland. So wow, look at the different colours available. There are also some pieces of equipment here to do with knitting. So since I'm a complete beginner with knitting, I'm not 100% sure what these are all for, but I'm sure during the week I will be learning and I will be able to use all these by the end of the week. There's also this puff and poo, which is a funny treat from Shetland. The room also has a private bathroom, so there's soap and shampoo conditioner provided, and there is a shower in there. Day 1 of the knitting holiday is already off to a start. I am going downstairs with my bag. I've got my notebook here and I've got some knitting equipment, and I'm really looking forward to finding out more about knitting, and I really want to be a knitter by the end of my time on Fair Isle. Let's see if it's possible, but even just I think watching the other knitters and what they're able to accomplish within the week will be really motivating for me as well. There's a small group of us here on this knitting holiday, and people have travelled from all over the world to be here. Our teachers for the week are Marie Bruhat and Terrri Laura, who are both incredibly talented knitters.
Hello and welcome. It's nice to see the whole group and you to see each other. It is so good that we managed to have a video call with everyone. Well done everyone for making it all at the same time.
We started off by learning a bit more about what Fair Isle knitting actually is.
In Fair Isle it was really colourful quite early on because the island was on the highway of the time, because it was on the sea routes for lots of trading. So islanders on Fair Isle were able to get red and blue dyes way before other places, and I think because they were in such a strategic position, they were also able to export their knitwear really wide, and I think that's why the name stuck to the knitting, because obviously afterward there is also other places that have pattern knitwear and things like that, but somehow this is a name that's stuck in English. In Fair Isle knitting, one of the things that is really important is for the symmetry. So there is a symmetry in how the motifs are designed, so you'll see that the motifs are all symmetrical vertically and horizontally, and there's also a symmetry on how the colors are placed. So the red and blue in the middle, and then there is symmetry.
Authentic Fair Isle knitting also uses Shetland wool and no more than 2 colours in each row.
You'll see that each of the motifs are unique, and it's quite funny how these are exactly the same motif and you got a completely different design, because even though it's using the same punch cards, same motif, you can get a million different options.
Marie gave me a crash course in the basics of hand knitting, so I spent some time on my own practicing and trying to get the hang of it. Since it was our first day on the island, we went on a little tour to get our bearings and take in the beautiful scenery. Before we start with knitting, we need to choose the colours for our project, which, to be honest, I think is maybe the hardest part, because I think there are so many different colours to choose from. An example would be like this one, this cushion here. Look at all the different shades. So you have white, and then you also have different shades of blue as well. I think they're going to help us, but yeah, let's see what colours they have. During the week, we'll be attempting to knit either a hat or a yoke, which is the top section of a sweater that sits around the neck, shoulders, upper back and chest. I'm going for a hat because it feels a bit more realistic for a beginner like me. We'll also get the chance to try out a knitting machine later in the week and make a scarf, which I'm very excited about. For those of us knitting hats, the first step was choosing our design. We looked through lots of swatches to get some inspiration and see what colours and patterns we liked. Then we headed over to Marie's Croft, where she has a workshop packed with the most incredible selection of Jamiesons of Shetland wool.
We can see that it's moving on in a direction. We can kind of describe the journey as dark to light here. Whereas if you have kind of darker, lighter, it starts to look kind of more interrupted or kind of a jaggedy line rather than a smooth line, what we're looking for if we're trying to help a motif hold together. And here the decision has been made on this one that the backgrounds are going to be darker with pale colours on top, but you can of course switch that over.
We wrapped little strands of wool around cardboard to see how the colours worked together, and once we'd chosen our colours, our yarn was prepared into small balls ready for us to start knitting.
Just set it on top of there.
Okay, so that's for your roof if you set your...
Yeah.
Honestly, that was quite hard choosing the colours, but we have a final selection. I will run through what they are. So this sort of natural coloured one here, this is called Eset, very nice. I have this one called Pete. So Marie actually gave some advice when she suggested to look through all the different colours. She said, have a look and see the names as well, because some of those names might create a feeling for you, or you might resonate with some of those names. And if you've seen my videos before, you'll know I love peated whiskey, and peat is found all over Scotland, so I thought this was a nice one to include. It's a beautiful colour as well. We also have here this one called Atlantic, this blue coloured one, so that's very beautiful. And then this one, ooh, this lovely turquoisey pop of colour is called Mermaid, and this one is called Madder, and I really like this colour, sort of deep red. So these are the ones that I'm going to be using. I think if you have experience with knitting, it's probably much easier to know what sort of colours you want to go for, because you'll have had previous experience on other projects and you'll know what works together and what doesn't. Because it's my first time, it's all a big learning curve for me, but Marie and Terry were so knowledgeable about all the colours and so helpful. Basically, they helped me choose all of these, but I'm really happy with my choices. So far this trip has been really interesting and eye-opening, because it's opened me up to a whole world of knitting that I knew existed, but I didn't realise how much there was to learn. And being around the other knitters on the holiday as well, some of them are really experienced and really knowledgeable, and it's been really nice to listen to their stories about knitting, hearing them chat about different projects that they've worked on or experiences that they've had going to different events about knitting around the place. So they probably think I'm asking such silly questions. I didn't even know that there's different sizes of knitting needles. I am really a complete beginner with this, but I'm learning so much every single moment, and yeah, so excited to actually get started with the knitting.
Ruth, you're going to knit a fisherman cap, which is a very traditional hat that was knitted on Fair Isle for decades, centuries. So what the construction of it is that it's got a headband that is folded over a rib and then a long body of the hat. And when you wear it, it just gives you extra warmth, because the Fair Isle part has 2 strands of yarn and the rib has 1 strand of yarn. So it's 3 layers of wool on your forehead, and then the beautiful pattern are displayed on the longer hat that will dangle from your head. So the way we do it for this week, so it's a bit quicker, is that the rib that is inside and hidden, we are going to knit it on the machine. So we save maybe 5-6 hours, probably 2 days for your time as a beginner knitter, but just in 20 minutes on the machine, I'm going to get that rib knitted, and then we can just get started with the fun part, which is color work. This machine is a ribber, so it's actually 2 machines put together, because the way our knitting machine works is that there's a bed of needles, and instead of having and knitting 2 needles that move the stitch from one needle to another, and you knit a row as you move the stitch across, here the carriage carries a yarn across all the needles, and 1 needle is per stitch, so each needle has its own stitch, and it will knit in the same direction because all the needles face the same way. For making ribs, you need knit stitch and purl stitch, which are knitted from a different direction. So we have a second bed of needles that will grab the yarn on the opposite direction, which will make the rib, the purl and knit stitch. So I'm just going to insert some yarn and then move the carriage across, which will make a row every time. So it's very quick.
The knitting machine is purely mechanical and hand operated, requiring no electricity at all.
That's the first part of your hat. Done!
Wow, exciting.
What we're going to do is just pick up the stitches. Here we are, just lifting the first out each loop. So each time I put 1 loop, then I put my finger to secure it, and then onto the next one. So I put the loop on my finger, and then I move my finger. I'm going to pass it to you now.
Okay, yeah? Okay. Bit nervous. First time knitting.
So that's not knitting. Well, picking up the stitches. Knitting will be the next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go under here.
Yeah.
Under. Yeah. Like this. Okay.
Yeah. And then the next one. Yeah. This is very advanced. Like this is very difficult. Yeah. Okay. That's not a beginner first day of knitting job. I would say.
Thrown in the deep end here.
So maybe I'm going to check, because after a while it will be harder for me to check that we've got all of them. Here you got both of the same stitch, so it would unravel the stitch, because we only want one of the 2 legs of the stitch. Because if we mess this up, then it's a bit harder to fix, because this is the cast on of the rib.
Okay.
So I might just do it for you, so we know it's secure. Otherwise, we would
don't want to mess up the
start
hat
again.
Yeah.
Pull the thread, and here we go. We take the waist yarn off, and we've got all your stitches on the needle.
It's beautiful. It's a nice colour as well.
I love peat. Yeah. Peat is a beautiful colour.
Yeah, that's so nice. So what colour will we do next? Do you have to add another colour on?
So not just yet. So no, we're going to do 1 knit row.
Okay.
and then one per row, which will give us the fold, the perfect fold on the edge of the hat. Okay, let's get knitted.
The item from my gift bag that I didn't recognise at first turned out to be a knitting belt. It's a traditional Shetland tool that you wear around your waist with little holes that hold a long needle in place so you can knit faster and more efficiently. How is it?
It's really good.
Yeah?
I'll just have to put them once you're finished, just to make sure.
Oh, actually, we have a problem here.
No. Oh, okay.
So, oh no.
Don't worry. What happened?
I think I lost one and then I tried to put it back on and then more fell out. Is it okay?
So I've got this one back. And I've got this one back.
To learn more about wool, we visited Rachel, who runs a croft on the island. She introduced us to her sheep. Shetland sheep are very hardy and are well adapted to the island's tough weather. Rachel talked us through the different types of wool and how the fleece is eventually turned into yarn.
It used to be what I used for growing cucumbers up, my sort of trellis, but I repurposed it, and it's a perfect kind of table for laying the fleeces out on. It's I don't normally have it in here. I normally do it outside, but I was just a bit conscious with the weather. This, I think, is brownies fleece. So typically what I would do before this is ready to go to the mill is take off the belly fleece. You can see it gets all matted and you know it's not really useful for anything. It can take me quite a while just to go through it really thoroughly. And what I do then, I mean, because I want it to go to the mill in as best condition as possible, so I do try to kind of get, you know, all the bits of the vegetable matter out, anything that's you know, I know the mill would just have to discard as well, and that way I know that sort of everything that I'm sending to the mill will be usable.
Seeing the fleece straight off the sheep and hearing about the whole process gave me much more appreciation for the yarn we're using for our projects.
Is we're going to go on the laptop. I've got the chart for your cap, and we're going to place the color that you chose. And with Terrri's lovely way of planning for colors, then we're just going to copy this onto the computer, see how it looks on the chart, and if we are happy, we'll print it. If we're not happy, we'll just do some tweaks so that we can visualize it with the motif.
If you're completely new to knitting like me, this chart is basically your guide for the knitting design. The bottom row shows the bottom of the hat, which I've already started, and then you knit upwards, following the chart row by row.
We're going to play a bit with the brighter color on the little stripes. So I'm just going to suggest things, and then we can change them around once we see. I'm just going to put them a bit anywhere. Here we go. So
Okay.
the only thing is, no, I don't like those two like that, so I'm going to swap those two around, and I think it's nicer like that.
Yeah.
The red here is too much red next to each other, so maybe this could be a band of Esset. And then because we've got one here, I kind of feel like maybe we should have one here. But then I like that red there, so maybe it's the blue that's too much here, and that's quite cool, like that.
Wow, it makes such a difference just changing a few small things.
It's so easy on the computer to be able to see that. So yeah, so I think now we'll just have to figure out the rest of your hat. So I will go to the other chart. So that's the headband. We'll just do the same for the hat.
We have finished designing the cap on the computer program. It looks amazing. What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, I love it.
You love it? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm taking pictures for social media because I never...
So Marie's printed out the design as well. So yeah, Great. Oh, I can't wait to wear this
I
and
know.
see it come to life. It's so exciting.
Just knitting though.
Yeah, but a long time ago, people weren't able to do the computer
They
design.
were so amazing because they would have everything in their head. I don't really have like that. I will know what I want to do, but I won't be able to picture it. So this software is called Envision It.
Okay.
And it's meant for hand knitters, but I use it for the machine as well as for the hand knitting, and it's absolutely a brilliant program.
Yeah. So helpful.
Really cool.
Let's go. We have actually added now another colour. So this is the second colour we're adding to the hat, which is very exciting to start seeing the very beginnings of the hat coming together. I was knitting away, but unfortunately I went a bit off-piste, so Marie is fixing it for me here.
So what happened is that I taught you how to knit at first on flat pieces and nowhere in circular. So when you finished a bit, you had that memory of turning the work to do it again. And actually when you're on circular, you just need to keep going around. So you've knitted twice the same needle instead of going to the next needle. So I'm just undoing this part that you did too many, and we'll be back on track in 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you for your help.
So good thing none of my knitters are on the plane. Just know my friend Amy just sent the plane track, and it's just been circling around like 5-6 times.
Oh my gosh.
I think so. I don't think it's landing today. I think it's still trying, but I'm so glad that all of you get in like on the right time, because sometimes it can be challenging, and that's why I always say to people to plan extra days.
So now we're moving on to
Yeah.
a new colour with the knitting. So let's check our chart. What's next? This is really nice to have this because you can visualize what's coming next. Okay, so next we have blue, the Atlantic blue. This one.
I really started you on a very difficult project just so you can be doing the same thing as everyone else. But this is definitely not what I would recommend for someone beginning knitting for the first time. So
No, but it's good. But you're always watching and just checking and catching my mistakes before things get too severe. So exciting, adding the new colours.
yeah, it's good when you can see it starting coming along. Yeah, and we are soon to add the Fair Isle. Next time we change colour, then there will be the Fair Isle part. So yeah, exciting.
As well as being famous for its traditional colourwork knitting, Fair Isle is known for its dramatic cliffs, rare bird life, and its strong sense of community. Around 50 people live here, and the island is owned by the National Trust, a charity that looks after historic places, coastlines, and countryside across the UK so that everyone can enjoy them. The ferry was due in, so I wandered down to the harbour just as all the island supplies were being unloaded. It's so interesting to see how life here is lived compared to on the mainland. In addition to knitting the kep this week, we're also going to be knitting a type of scarf with the Fair Isle pattern. So I've decided to go for some different colours. So these are the colours, and as you can see, they are a mix of greens and blues, and Marie helped me choose them because recently I actually got a really lovely tartan jacket and it's green and navy coloured. So for the scarf we're actually going to be using the knitting machine for the first time rather than knitting by hand.
From the back to the front, and then twice around this, and then it goes around this, like that.
Marie gave us a crash course on how to use the knitting machine.
That's where you put your back yarn, the background yarn, and then you close the gates so the yarn is safe. You're not going to have to change that color, so you won't have to touch this. And then 2 is where you insert your color work, your second color. So you'll put it to the front. And it's going to, those little bits of plastic will fall in the hole or not. When this hits a hole, then it will lift one of those things. And then those things talk to a wheel inside. And I'm going to start knitting. So 1 row. Now hold on to the purple as well.
Now we are coming up with the design for the scarf.
Which won't be so bright, that's for the printer. So
Okay.
I'll be the color that you show earlier on
Sure,
this
it looks
thing.
great. Really like it.
Yeah.
This here is an example of a machine scarf that someone else made. Isn't it so beautiful? printed off the punch card or the template for the scarf. It looks amazing.
Yes, it looks really good.
Yeah.
So we'll just pin it here.
It reminds me of a forest a little bit when you look at it.
Yeah.
All the different shades of green.
We'll start one finger. There we go. Finger on. You have to rewind. I'm going to let you carry on, Ruth.
Now we don't have to change the colour for a
We're
while.
going until row 10.
Okay. So I hold it on this side, right? Outside. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh! First row down.
First row, yeah.
Okay, and then back again.
600 row left.
600 left. Been on the machine for about an hour, hour and a half, and I am loving this. It is so fun. Look how much I have knitted so far. Wow, feels so productive, and it's really relaxing once you get into a rhythm with it. It's really fun following the pattern, and you can't really see the whole pattern yet because it will be revealed later, but so far I love it. It looks very colourful and very nice to match with my jacket. Welcome to another day of knitting. So yesterday I made some really good progress on the knitting machine. So this is what I have made so far. Cannot believe it. Look how long this stretch of scarf is. Honestly, knitting on the machine is so much fun. It's so rewarding because I can see the progress so quickly, and yeah, after 2-3 hours, you can make this length of scarf. And obviously, if you have more experience, you'll be much faster. And even as a beginner, using the machine is actually not that difficult. Obviously, you need to pay really close attention when you're doing it to make sure you don't make any mistakes. But this is my first attempt ever using a knitting machine, and I made this. I was really interested to hear how Marie and Terry both got into knitting.
I am Terry Leask and I am a knitter in Shetland, and I go under the name Terri Laura for my knitting. I've grown up in a family full of knitters and designers and craftspeople, and I did do other things after I left school, but I just fell straight back into knitting. First helping my grandmother in her shop, and then I was coming up with all these ideas on my own and wanted to branch out and do some of my own things too, so it kind of just escalated quite organically. Through my business Terri Laura, I am offering knitting classes, experiences for tourists when they come to Shetland, online events for people who maybe can't make it to Shetland. I write patterns for knitters to knit. I do a bit of machine knitting and produce some garments as well. A little bit of everything really, and I'm just really interested in all of the other people knitting in Shetland too, and I love collaboration, so that's a huge fun part of the whole process for me.
My name is Marie and I come from France. I moved to Fair Isle in 2017. I initially thought I would stay for a few years or something like that, but it's been almost 8 years and I just love it here. I started as a knitwear designer and producer for another business on the island, but after a few years I realized my passion was sharing this island with other people, and that's when I decided to create my own business offering knitting holidays, just so people could see how amazing Fair Isle is and get a taste of making yourself something on the knitting machine to the same quality and standard that islanders have been doing for so long. Being part of the community on Fair Isle is it's a lifestyle, so you have to join in with the activity, otherwise there's no point in living here. So I'm also a firefighter and I work at the plane for the National Trust of Scotland on the airport, and I also have a craft with some sheep, and it's just part of the life here is to have multiple jobs and do a lot of the things that make this community such a nice place to live.
We're back onto the hat, and now we're going to be starting with the motifs, which look quite challenging. Is it going to be hard?
We're going to take it one stitch at a time.
Okay.
And it'll be fine.
Okay.
So with Fair Isle knitting, there's only 2 colors per row. So we're going to take it 1 row at a time, 2 colors at a time. The main thing is yarn management, so they don't get entangled, because that's a pain. So we'll keep your background on your right and your foreground on your left. I will show you slowly how to do it when you drop the yarn, and then I will show you how I do it a bit faster.
Okay.
But so here we've done 2 red and then 2 white, and then there's 1 red and then there's 2 white. So I let go of the red and I do the 2 white, and then after that we've got 3 red.
So this is my first time knitting the 2 colours. So exciting. Okay.
So 3 red.
3 red. Okay. I didn't even know this was how you
what?
actually. I was curious how we would do the 2 colours.
Yeah.
But now it makes
insert
sense.
your needle first.
Okay. I have been knitting for about 30 minutes, and you can start to see the very beginning of the motif and the pattern. And Marie is kindly sorting out my massacre that happened on the knitting machine.
That's fine. It's back on the needle and it's going to be back on the machine in 5 minutes.
I love it.
And yeah, at least you get to see it, because on the machine you see the back. At least you get to see the front when you make a mistake. So.
Exactly. I love it. Today was quite a big, intensive day for the knitting. So all day pretty much focusing on the hand knitting and starting to work with 2 colours, which it requires a lot of concentration. I think once you've done it probably for years and years, you're used to it, but it requires a lot of concentration. And it was nice because everyone was sitting in a big group together and chatting and sitting on the comfy chairs in the main part of the bird observatory. So that was really nice. But I really feel like I made quite a lot of progress today, and it's so amazing. Like, I'm just like doing the same movement over and over again, but it's actually making something. And then when I look at what I've actually knitted and achieved, it's so rewarding to see what I can actually do with my hands. I have learned so much since day 1 when we started this whole project, because I could hardly do anything. So we're about halfway just now, but yeah, it's really nice to see the scarf and also the hat coming to life, and I'm really looking forward to finishing the projects and seeing the end result. It's been really comfortable staying at the new Fair Isle Bird Observatory. It's a research and accommodation centre dedicated to monitoring the island's bird life. All the meals are home cooked and served in a communal dining room, so you end up chatting to loads of interesting people who are visiting the island. There's also a little bar, plus a tea and coffee station. We've had some of our own activities, including knitting talks, a visit to the museum, and a ranger-led walk, but we've also been able to join in with what's happening at the Bird Observatory, like taking part in their evening quiz and watching the staff ring birds. Today I'm going to be starting back on the scarf again, and hopefully going to get this entire scarf finished today. I've got into a bit of a routine with how to use this knitting machine, and I'm much faster than I was when I first started. So let's crack on with this. So I've been using the machine and I've realised I've made a mistake. I don't know how big a mistake it is, but I should have been following the diagram, but I didn't. And one of these strips should be a dark blue instead of the dark green. So do you think it's okay, Maria, or do we need to change it?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to take it back to here and then put it back on the machine. So you can just cut the yarn here, if you cut it.
Okay. Oh gosh, I should have been more focused.
So you can see how pretty it is, but from the distance you'll see those 3 bands of green, so we're just going to fix that. So I'm going to pick up the stitches here, and then we'll put that back on the machine and we'll knit it correctly.
Wow, you make it sound so easy.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
it's an
not
easy fix. Okay.
It's not a big problem.
Okay, thank you.
The first leg of every stitch. So that's putting those stitches back on this needle. So here you're going to just pull those.
It's really satisfying.
Yes, and just pull.
All of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Marie sorted it out. We are back on track. I have come to the end of the pattern. Here is the scarf. Look how long it is. That is incredible. So we're going to do double this length, and this has taken me about 5 hours in total on the machine as a complete beginner, with a lot of help from Marie when I make mistakes. What's next, Marie? We're going to
Take it off the machine, so you
take it off. Okay, so we're going to move it, move it along. Oh, just comes off by itself. Okay. My goodness.
That's your first half. Well done.
How does it look? Is it okay
Great.
to, it's not going to break it if I put it around my neck or anything? How's it look?
Looks great on you.
Yeah? Good colours? What do you think, Johnny?
Love it, yeah.
So yeah, no, we're going to put the rib for the next end on the machine, and you're going to knit from the other side.
Right, okay. Great.
Chop, chop.
Okay. Chop, 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 chop. We've got a strict teacher here. Marie's about, no, she's not very strict.
So we knitted the rib on a different machine, and now we are transferring it onto this machine. Once you find your rhythm for that, this is quite fast. I quite like doing that.
Something that is so nice about this knitting holiday is that as soon as you step outside, you have all this beautiful scenery surrounding you, and you can go for walks, and it's actually so inspiring, makes you creative, think of ideas. Also, I guess the colours as well. I probably should have looked more at the landscapes and used those to inspire my colour choices for my knitwear. So lovely out here. I actually think I have become a bit of a knitting convert. It's reminding me of when I started to enjoy whisky. I never was that interested in whisky, but then I went to Islay and fell in love with whisky. I'm a huge fan of whisky, and it's the same for this. I didn't know much about knitting, and I knew of it, a bit like how I knew of whisky. But throughout the week, I've become more and more interested in knitting, and I'm really enjoying it. Back on the hand knitting now with the crazy weather outside. It's nice and cozy in here though. I have finished the scarf on the machine, and Marie is now going to work her magic and finish it off. I think I've entered into retirement, knitting retirement at the end of the day here, and Marie is now working on my scarf, and Terry is fixing mistakes in the hat here.
That I made. It's a mistake I made.
Thank you so much, guys. Marie, you're now attaching the two pieces of the scarf together here.
Yeah, so grafting. So I pick up one stitch from the first half, and then I pick up a stitch from the second half, and that's creating a seamless join, you see. It's completely invisible, and once it's washed, it's even going to be even less noticeable.
Yeah, Terry's fixing all the mistakes here.
Yeah, just the last few to do here. Bring it all the way around, and then you'll be ready to knit again.
Thank goodness you guys are here. I think I would have had to give up on the hat a long time ago. I would have got stuck after the first row. Marie has grafted the scarf together. So this is the finished scarf, but there's still some things to do. Marie's going to be chopping off some ends and also washing the scarf. So that's going to change it a little bit and make it look a bit nicer, but great, ready for the winter. And also I need to try it on with a different coloured top as well, because this is probably not the best match. But yeah, I love it.
The wool we've been knitting with is Jameson of Shetland, but it's oil cones for the machine. So you really need to wash it so it blooms, and you get rid of all the oil that was in the yarn, and you can see the difference. Like when you're going to see your scarf, you're not going to believe it's the same piece of knitwear. It just makes it so nice. And then I gently press it, and you can see it will like equalize everything. So if you zoom in, you'll see as soon as I go, it just make it all flat and nice. I also have that little spray just because it smells nice. It's meant to flatten things, but it's just it smells really nice. So that's yours. I've just pressed it 5 minutes ago. I didn't realize.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
That
it's
is
finished.
crazy. I can't believe I made that. Well,
I know.
heavily monitored by
No, but you did so well. And it's so long.
your
And
expertise.
it'll just be like such a nice scarf.
Oh,
So you can wear it like this, or you can fold it and then wear it like that. Like really, like you can wear it in so many different ways.
it's gorgeous. I love
so
it.
Fuzzy.
I love it. I just love all your knitwear, and you have all your knitwear over here on the shelves behind.
I know, I still
Yeah.
have lots of things to put in stock. Jodie's
Yeah.
been knitting like crazy, so I've got lots of things to input. And Tracy at the Beddoes is a great sewer. I hate sewing machine, and she's just been making the most beautiful cushion covers.
Wow.
They're absolutely lovely. We got some Harris tweed for the back, and the front is pieces of Fair Isle knitting offcut from the blanket that I'm getting made in Ullapool by my friend Dougie and Amy in Noose Knitting. So yeah, just been great to get all the stock ready for this winter.
Yeah, you've got cushion covers, you've got a sweater over there, you've got hats, you've got
a few bits and pieces now.
so much. Well, yeah, anyway, check out Marie's website and have a look at all her amazing work. Oh my goodness, I want to buy everything. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you know, I thought it would be a little bit itchy because of the wool, but it's not.
No,
It's
once
not
you
itchy
washed
at
it,
all.
it's not itchy.
No, it's really soft.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to wear this every single day.
I hope so.
It's just like the best memory of my trip to Fair Isle. Thank you so much for all your
Yes.
help.
I'm so happy.
Oh. We then headed out for a little photo shoot with our scarves in the beautiful Fair Isle scenery. It was also lovely to see what everyone else had created by the end of the week. There were so many beautiful designs and such a mix of colours and styles. I continued knitting by hand for the hat, and I finished the whole headband, which I cannot believe I managed to even do that. But Marie is knitting the rest of the hat on this machine because there's not enough time for me to knit the whole hat while I'm here because I'm too slow. So she's using the chart and finishing off the hat for me, and then she'll attach on the part that I hand knitted with the actual hat.
That's it coming off. It's finished. So I'm just going to run the carriage empty. And here we are. That's going to be the body of your hat. And I'm now going to go on and graft it onto the rest.
Wow, it looks amazing.
I know, I love the color.
Yeah?
I know we're unsure of the colors, but it's beautiful. We'll just be making the tassel for the hat, and I think it will look good if the hat tassel is in kind of the reddish color. So I'm just wrapping around the box, so something the right size. A few of the strand that I like for the tassel, because I'm going to cut it here. Just cutting some blue, so a couple of arm length really, and I'm going to attach it to the window. Here we go. So we'll just attach the other bit to the drill.
I'm very interested to see how this turns out using a drill for knitting. I would never have thought.
Yeah, some people use their kitchen mixer, which works as well. You just need something that will rotate the yarn for you and that will save you time. It's over. This is a bit that would be attached to the hat. So yeah, tomorrow we'll attach it to your hat once your hat is washed.
So we're trying it on for the first time. What do you think?
I think it looks great. I
Yeah?
love this color on you. It's beautiful, and you did so well with the knitting. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
So all this is unknitted by Ruth, and then we'll pick up the stitches and attach the hat that I made on the machine just before.
Oh, so exciting. I can't wait to see the finished hat. On my final morning, I got up early to watch the Good Shepherd ferry being put into the water. I'd been curious all week about how it actually moves down the tracks on the pier. I have had the best time over the last week learning how to knit. I can't believe a week ago I didn't know a single thing about knitting, and look how much I have achieved in only 1 week. It's been so amazing to also be back here on Fair Isle. It is such a special island. I think some of you can probably relate to that. You go to places that just feel very special, and Fair Isle has that for me. Marie finished the rest of my hat for me, and this is how it turned out. I absolutely love it. I've also been wearing my scarf with my tartan raincoat, and I think they look so good together. Let me know what you think of the finished pieces. I'm so glad I took on this challenge. Since my lovely week on Fair Isle, I've been practicing knitting on my own, and I've completely fallen in love with it. I really want to keep going and make it a new hobby of mine.
Thank you so much for all your help.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.